Eric Arthur Blair was a world-renowned writer, although you may not recollect his name because his pseudonym was George Orwell. Eric spent most of his life writing great novels and nonfiction stories. Eric Arthur Blair was a world-renowned writer, although you may not recollect his name because his pseudonym was George Orwell. Orwell spent most of his life writing great novels and nonfiction stories. This man was alive during both of the Great Wars, World War I and World War II, and saw the beginning of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. Orwell was born on June 25th of 1903 in Motihari in India to a Mr. Richard Walmsley Blair and a Miss Ida Mabel Limousine. He was eventually taken to Great Britain at the age of 1 with his mother, and would not see his dad again until the age of 4. At a very young age, Orwell was realized as a very smart young man when he was recommended to one of the most prestigious schools in the area in St. Cyprian's School on a scholarship. His studies there also got him into his other 2 schools in Wellington and Eton. After his realization that his parents could not afford for him to go to university, he decided to join the Indian Imperial Police. Unfortunately, he soon came to the conclusion that he hated imperialism. He then resigned and became a writer. He then proceeded to move to France to live with his aunt and started to write his first book, Down and Out, in Paris and London. Orwell had unquestionably determined that he would soon construct his own pseudonym. He rejected names such as Kenneth Miles, H. Lewis Always, and P.S. Burton. When it was finally decided, he chose to have the writing name of George Orwell. Even though Orwell had written quite a few novels and nonfiction stories, he only had 2 that always stood out in people's minds. One of his novels, which resembled, in that time, a modern-day Stalinism, called Animal Farm, written in 1945, which said that Stalin and the Soviets were the enemies, and said it through a very distinctive view using animal characters. Blair enjoyed giving his views on certain topics through his own novels, such as his view of the future would be in his novel called 1984, written in 1949. George Orwell was an amazing bohemian who was born in India but an Englishman who always gave an interesting view on every subject, from Stalinism to the future. Blair would always give an intriguing perspective on it, and you always recollect it once you have learned his aspect.